everybody. Welcome to the SoxProspects.com podcast. We are the web's #1 source for information on the Boston Red Sox farm system from top to bottom, from Fort Myers to Pawtucket, and all stops in between. Thank you for listening. My name's Chris Hatfield. I'm the executive editor of SoxProspects.com. I am joined, as always, by our director of scouting, Ian Kundle. It is Thursday, April the 30th. This is episode number 178. Ian, what is going on up there in Mass, my man?
Nothing much. We're just hanging in. The weather's been really bad, so it's kind of funny. If there was baseball, there would have been a lot of rain ounce up here. So between Pawtucket and Portland, so that's. But I think I would take that at this point.
Mean, that's April in the Northeast.
The weather sucked. We're still doing the same thing. So
yeah, we're all just sitting at home. We hope that all of you listening are safe and healthy, and you and your families aren't clawing each other's throats out yet, being trapped inside with each other. It's a weird time, and we're all getting through it, and that's one of the reasons why we want to keep cranking out some content for you, and we're going to talk about some of that today. We're continuing on with our State of the System series. We put up our catcher and our 2 infield entries into the series since the last episode of the podcast, so we're going to talk about that today. What are we learning? What are we seeing? I know there's at least one takeaway that I was very surprised by. And maybe you guys reading it will be surprised by some things too, so make sure you're checking that out on the news page. We also got a lot of other stuff to talk about. We've got the Red Sox punishment for
finally
sign stealing investigation finally came down. Did they get off easy? Did they get get unfairly punished? We've got takes. We'll get into that. We'll talk about the 2020 minor league season. We talked a little bit about it last episode. Some news coming out on that, for better or worse. So we'll talk about that. It's worse. It's not for better. And also we've got an update on Noah Song. Plus, as always, your emails. Make sure you send your emails to podcast@soxprospects.com. We want to talk about what you want to hear about. So why don't you reach out and let us know what you want to hear, questions, concerns, jokes, whatever you got. We'll read them, man. There's plenty of time these days to talk about this stuff. And, of course, you can support the podcast if you're a listener and want to support. Look, we get right now that money's tight for people. Cool. If that's the situation with you, we get it. But if you want to support the show, you can support us on patreon.com/SoxProspects. And as always, we want to shout out our $5 level Patreon supporters. That would be Kyle Costigan, Tyler Woodrow, Jeff Trainer, David Nardone, Tim Harding, Bill Stanton, Deb Kendall, Evan Kirkwood, Hurricanes 1, Chris Fox, James O'Hara, Nathan Kenyon, Andrew Wallen, David B., Ben Burnett, Al Mendel, Kevin Catrides, Ben in Rhode Island, Paul Denyer, Lendl Martin, and Cassandra Bukta. Thank you to all of them for supporting the show, and to all of our patrons on patreon.com/SoxProspects. Ian, let's jump right into it, my man. There's plenty to get to for not much happening right now. Among the things we're not going to get into are the Dream League, or have you been watching the Players League at all? The MLB The Show. I was watching it on ESPN yesterday.
I've been watching a little bit.
It's not nearly as interesting as I thought it would be.
See, I actually kind of enjoyed it.
Really? All right.
Yeah. I just think it's a unique way to see the players. I like some of the banter, like Joey Gallo just hitting bombs is hilarious.
Yeah.
Especially when pitchers talk about like facing him, and I don't know. It's not baseball, but it's been enjoyable, and I don't know. I've had some fun with it.
I do have to say, with the broadcasts, poor Robert Flores just doesn't have anything to add. Like he's in a tough position. Like, what do you?
Yeah, I mean, they're not working with much there. Some of the guys aren't that into it, but I think some of them are really into it, which is cool to see. And again, like, it just feels kind of that it's not big, but it gives you a little taste of that competition. The players, and I think it's fun, like seeing like Dwight Smith play as the Orioles, who are just. I mean, I play that game a lot. And the Orioles are just terrific in it. And
they made the playoffs.
Yeah, Dwight Smith made the playoffs with the Orioles, which I think is pretty funny considering some of the other teams like you're playing against. So stuff like that's pretty cool. And I'm enjoying it.
Well, anyway, getting on other things seriously. Let's get to some of the news. Let's start with the.
Well, you don't want to talk about the Korean League? We got to pick a team. When are we starting, like Cebu Lions Prospects.com or something?
Well, what about the brothers?
LG Twins.
Oh no, there's the Taiwanese league that's been playing.
Yeah, but like
CBPL?
Korean league's about to be on TV here, so
I know.
Or you can watch the Nicaraguan league on like Janky.
Well, what's the league? The Red Sox have an affiliation with Cebu, don't they?
I don't know.
They've got an affiliation with the Cebu Lions.
Really? Is that the Korean league? I think it is.
Yeah.
But
I think so. Red Sox, Cebu Lions.
No, Cebu Lions are Japanese league.
Oh, are they the Japanese? Okay,
yeah.
Right.
Korean league's like LG Twins and stuff.
There was a team I thought the Red Sox had
I don't know. I think we have to pick a Korean league team and just start writing about their prospects, though. I mean, LG Twins have Casey Kelly, kind of in.
Oh, that's true.
And Tyler Wilson. Oh, wait, is that the Tyler Wilson the Red Sox drafted out of high school?
No, I think that's the former UVA pitcher.
It is the former UVA pitcher.
Yeah.
So that is the one the Red Sox drafted out of high school. No?
They had two different Tyler Wilsons at one point, neither of whom was the one that the Orioles drafted out of UVA.
Oh, okay.
So my computer is really loud right now.
Oh, yeah, Tyler Wilson. Yep, you're right. They signed. Oh, I remember that Tyler Wilson.
They had two Tyler Wilsons. They had the one they drafted out of high school, and they had the one that they signed out of Indy Ball.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But Casey Kelly's on the team, which is a fun old Red Sox connection.
Well, and speaking of old friends, before we get into some other news, we should mention that on the news page, James Dunn has been running with a cup of coffee, doing a Where Are They Now?
It's great.
Daily. That's just fantastic. You need to check it out. Just following up on some guys who used to be around. The John Lester piece the other day was just phenomenal. He's doing a great job there. Well, let's actually get to some content, Ian. No, seriously.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big story we got to talk about here.
Yeah, so the video room, the sign stealing punishment, the report came out. I keep meaning to read the whole thing. I've read the executive summary.
Yeah, you're the lawyer. You got to read it and dissect it.
But basically, I was going to read it this week, and then work picked up.
Yeah.
The punishment is what matters here, right? The Red Sox
got hosed.
Huh?
I think they got hosed.
So the initial reaction was that they got off very easy.
I think I took that. I was the first person to say this is not easy. Yeah. Like everyone on Twitter was like, "Oh, there's no punishment at all." It's like, nah, I'm pretty sure this is a much bigger punishment than you guys are thinking.
Yeah, comparing it to the Astros, it was nothing.
It's stupid because they didn't do anything close to what the Astros were doing.
Well, so let's start with the punishment. Was the Red Sox lost their second round pick this year, and J.T. Watkins, who listeners of the podcast may remember as a former Red Sox minor leaguer, son of longtime Red Sox scout Danny Watkins,
who drafted Mookie Betts.
J.T. Watkins, after retiring, worked as a Major League Advanced Scout for Advanced Scouting Assistant or something for the Major League Club. And he was their guy in the video room watching the video feed.
Yeah.
And basically the finding, I'll get to he has been suspended without pay for the year, and next year is banned from working in the video room. And that's it. And they also officially suspended Alex Cora for 1 year, but that is for his involvement in the Astros.
Yeah, and they said like none of the players would have been suspended, or none of the right? Didn't they say that?
No, they just didn't suspend any players.
No. I know the players couldn't get suspended.
They said none of the players were like involved.
It wasn't like the Astros system where you had all those players.
It wasn't like the Astros. Right.
That was my point.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So at any rate, the thing with Watkins, and I've had people reach out to me who are in the know that said that Watkins is getting unfairly railroaded publicly right now. His job as an advanced scout is in part to do things like figure out the opposing team's signs.
Yeah, I think the mistake they made was he was wearing too many hats at the same time.
I was just about to say that. If he's in the video room,
I don't think he can be an advanced scout.
This is the other problem is that this is what a lot of teams do, and the report even says that the Red Sox are not the only team that does this. No. Because it makes sense, because you've got a guy in there who knows what to look for, right? He would have what he thought the signs were, and the other team changes it, and he notices it. So now he's in this position of, do I give my team bad data? Do I update it? or do I not say anything? Or if he's writing something down and someone sees him write something down and he's on the video, it looks like he's updating it from the video.
Yeah. And there's nothing he can do. Like, if he's facing the monitors and writing something down, if a player comes in, because they come in there all the time to watch video, and the player just stands over his shoulder, is he going to, like, cover it like like he's taking a test and someone's coming to cheat off him? Like, I don't know what he's supposed to do.
And even if he's updating it for later, what's he supposed to do? Like, not write it down and then go back and watch the game again? Like, that's stupid.
Or, like, if a player comes in, is like, hey, like, are you seeing anything? Like, are you seeing this? Is he supposed to just ignore them? Like,
right. And the thing is that, well, I mean, the answer to that would be, like, if he's just taking it from the video, he has to say no. But the thing is, if someone's asking him about a reliever.
Yeah.
Hey, when you scouted this guy, what did you see? He's watching video of him. Mm-hmm. Or the starter, I guess, would be the better person, right? If it's the fifth inning, like, when it gets to the fifth, but, based on what he's seen now, he's tainted. Yeah. You know what I mean? So he was put in a compromising position that I could see the teams being like, every other team's doing it, so MLB must not care.
A bunch of teams do.
A bunch of teams do it. And, I mean, the report said it. The report acknowledged that. The report, and the other thing that got me, I mean, this is the criminal defense lawyer coming in here, is that, like, the threshold that they were crossing with what they had on him evidence-wise, this wasn't like the Astros investigation where everybody admitted it.
And there's, like, emails and, like, stuff like that.
Here, what they had was no one knew for certain, but there were people who suspected it.
Yeah.
Or said that they assumed he was. Or they were fairly certain.
There was no hard evidence at all.
No hard evidence. Like,
it was just speculation.
If this was a crime, you wouldn't convict him.
No. It was just speculation, like he said, she said. And I guess some of the players suggested that maybe he was doing it, but they weren't sure, and like
no one was certain.
No,
and he denied it.
And I don't.
And meanwhile, this is a guy that at this point in time is not drawing a salary this year because he's suspended without pay,
and he can't go on unemployment or anything either
because he's still employed.
Yeah.
If I'm him, I'm almost going to ask the Red Sox to fire me.
It sucks.
So I can collect unemployment.
It's not a good situation.
It's not good. It's really not good.
I just don't think it's fair on him. Like,
nope.
I don't know what he's supposed to do. He was doing his job. Like,
right.
That's the biggest problem I have, is he basically got punished for being good at his job.
Right.
At the end of the day, that's what it was. Because if you can pick up stuff like that in game, you're doing a good job. Like, it's just a weird, and then separate from that, we should probably discuss the punishment.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to get to next, is the draft.
I think we're going to have some takes on this.
There's multiple. So in the grand scheme of things, one draft pick doesn't seem like a lot. Compare it with the punishment. We should mention the punishment that the Astros received, just to show how much larger it was. And I actually think the Astros should have been. I think the more I've thought about this, I think they got off light. I think they should have had
the World Series stripped.
Exactly.
I think that's should have been
the more I've thought about it.
That should have been the first thing to happen. But.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. So the Astros lost their first and second round pick in consecutive years, were fined $5 million. Again, Red Sox were not fined.
The fine doesn't matter either. It's just the picks.
Well, it matters in a real world sense.
But for the Astros, it does not matter. Like,
$5 million
makes $5 million in an hour.
You think? I mean, we could argue about that. There's no point. Then they also their GM and manager were suspended for 1 year each, as was their former bench coach. Mm-hmm. Which unfortunately affects the Red Sox, but that's part of the Astros punishment. And the thing is, part of those punishments, I mean, when you're handing down those punishments, you basically know those people are getting fired.
Yes.
So they're basically like handing down a 1 year suspension from the game, after which they're going to maybe or maybe not find a new job, right? So more severe than the Red Sox punishment, absolutely. But I would argue, and I think you agree with me on this, that the Red Sox did much less than what the Astros did. Mm-hmm. The loss of a pick this year especially, which at the time the Astros were punished was not part of the equation, and at the time the Red Sox were punished is part of the equation, is that we are facing a shortened draft this year of 5 or 10 rounds.
I think it's going to be 10 at most, Dave. It's pretty much, it seems.
It seems it's either 5 or 10.
Because they said that it can be up to 40.
Right, we talked about it last time. Yeah, it's not going to be
20. It's going to be 5 or 10.
It's going to be 5 or 10. by the way, they don't even know what it's going to be yet.
I think my theory is it's going to be 5 if they don't play. It's going to be 10 if they play. Or they think they're going to play.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes some sense.
But by the time the draft starts...
But you know what's stupid? Round 6 through 10, is that even $1 million of bonuses?
No. It's if you're going by last year, it's... 6th round slot was 237, so that's 400. It's like 400. It's like 750
for a Major League Baseball team. $750,000. Give me a break.
Yeah,
like stop it. Like it matters.
Stupid.
It's dumb. It's dumb. I mean, they shouldn't be cutting the draft down at all. This is just
no.
I mean,
or if you're going to cut the draft down, cut it to 30 rounds and just don't take the 10 guys you know you're not going to sign.
And well, we talked about this last time. It should be 30 rounds.
I agree.
Yeah.
But
anyway, we're retreading last episode. Losing one pick this year means you're losing 10 or 20% of your draft.
Yeah.
That's like losing four picks in a regular year or 8 picks.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And they're also losing their second highest bonus, which is going to be about $1.4 million, depending where it's slotted. It was in the 50s. So you're losing like a third of your bonus pool, or what is it? No, it's like a fourth of your bonus pool.
Oh, it's probably more than that. Well, especially if it's only 5 rounds.
Oh, if it's only 5 rounds. Well, going off last year, their bonus pool with 5 rounds was 7, 1.4, 2.1, or 3.1. It was like 4.8 last year. So yeah, it's about a third, between a third and a fourth, or a fourth and a third of their bonus was gone.
Right.
And it's like, as I said on Twitter, in a normal year, it's fine. It's whatever. Like, you lose your second round pick. They forfeited their second round pick plenty of times because of various things like signings and stuff in the past.
No, it's free agents in the past.
Free agents. And then, you just sign a bunch of guys after the 10th round for $150K or $125K. You can balance. There's ways to balance it out.
Right.
With this, they're also limited to signing undrafted free agents for $20K. So it's not like you can throw money around there.
Right.
So you're stuck. Like your draft class is literally going to be those 4 and 9 guys.
And one thing that we were just talking about that's going to be in our wrap up of the State of the System series eventually is the 2015 draft. Which they got Benintendi in the first, and that makes your draft. But the reason the system looks so bad right now is that's basically all they got.
Yep.
That's still around, at least.
Yep.
And so does this wind up being another 2015?
Yeah, from the 2015 draft, there's only one player in the top 60. Do you know who it is?
No.
Oh, sorry. No. There's no one from the 2015 draft. There's one player who was acquired in 2015 in the top 60. It's Pedro Castellanos.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay, because you're looking at your sheet.
Yeah. There's no one from that draft is in the top 60. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the draft, it's Benintendi at 1, and then for guys that are still in the system, it's Austin Rye, Tate Matheny, Jagger Rusconi, Matt Kent, Bobby Pointer, Jerry Downs, Chad De La Guerra, and Adam Lau.
I would make the argument that Chad De La Guerra is the closest of any of those guys to making the top 60.
Yeah.
He hit 288, 361, 540. And
I like Rusconi, but he can't stay on the field.
I mean, Chad De La Guerra, he hit what? He hit 2.9. He slugged over 500.
De La Guerra's in the top 80.
Yeah. I mean, he's
probably
not
the top 70.
He's a 27-year-old organizational player, but that's what all those other guys are. So
$5,000 senior sign.
Yeah, it's just not a good draft. Let's be honest.
Well, but I mean, it's like, Travis Lakins traded, Ben Taylor DFA'd, Logan Allen. Logan Allen, that's the other thing they traded.
Yeah, but he's not on the team, so it doesn't matter.
Well, that's what I'm saying is they traded the other guy they drafted. Like Logan Allen and Travis Lakins were good picks. It's just they're both gone now.
Yeah, but anyway, I think that one thing that needs to be said with regards to this punishment is I believe Jared Carabas was the first one to point this out. And I think he's right that the reason they lost the second round pick is because of the watch thing, and they didn't get punished for that. Which they probably should have been punished for that. Let's be honest.
Didn't they get fined?
They got fined a little, but I would argue that was worse than what JT Watkins was caught doing because they actually had evidence of the Apple Watch thing. And
right. Well, I think at that point it was just there wasn't a lot of clarity on what wasn't allowed.
But I think it was just that they basically took the track record of those two things combined.
whether or not it was like explicit or not. I don't think that the report specifically says that, but
yeah,
I think it's like, look, you of all teams should know better.
Yeah, and I was a little disappointed. I don't think anyone asked this when they did the call about it. Asked them if the commissioner, or they were told if the punishment, they took into account the situation with the draft this year with the punishment. I would have been interested to hear what the Red Sox know about that.
It says in the report that they know that that's a more significant penalty this year than typical.
They do know. Okay,
it says it in the report. I don't remember whether it says that they took it into account or not.
Okay. So, I mean, I just think for the Red Sox system, and having just literally wrapped up, looking at the depth and everything, that a second round pick is a big deal for them this year, especially given the system needs more players. They've done a good job the last 2 years of bringing in talent, and they need to continue that. And the idea that's, they're losing one of their biggest assets for that is a big deal. And it's obviously going to hurt them in the long term.
It is.
So, yeah.
It is. And it's almost like I also feel that the length of the investigation, how long it took, and the fact that there was, I think the length of the investigation, how long it took, also factored in, because if they didn't punish them after all of that, it would have looked awful. And I think the other thing was the fact that there was another much more major, but another sign stealing investigation just before this one. They had to. It led to this being more severe. I think.
I agree. I think it was almost a little bit of an overreaction.
I think if the Astros situation hadn't happened, this is like, maybe they suspend Watkins still.
If the Astros situation happens, I doubt reporters are investigating this.
I mean, maybe they just cut some money off their bonus cap or something. I mean, just something lighter.
I don't think it happens. Yeah, I don't think it happens.
Or they lose a later pick. I don't know, like a third rounder.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, we'll have to see how they handle that in the draft. And actually, good time to mention, we're going to have to see how we handle that in the draft, Ian.
Yeah. That kind of screwed us. We should, yeah.
So it's Thursday night. I think this is going to get out Friday morning.
Okay, cool.
Friday night, May the 1st, Ian and I will be putting on our scouting director caps and participating in the Prospects Live mock draft. We're mocking the first 3 rounds of this year's amateur draft, and we're drafting for the Red Sox. At the time we agreed to it, we thought we had 3 picks, but now we have 2, unfortunately. So
sad.
We'll see how we do. May or may not have reached out to see if I could get some tips on who the team was looking at and been told to take a hike. So, it was worth a shot. But yeah, keep an eye out for that, and we'll probably go over that on the next episode, how that went, what we thought, what we learned, and have some reaction to that as well. So,
because it feels weird to say this. The draft is approaching. It looks like they're going to do it on June 10th. And if they do it on June 10th, that's just over a month away. Yeah. So,
hey, I mean, yeah. I think because they didn't announce that it was going to happen on June 10th until like the week after the NFL draft, and I guarantee you that's part of it. There were 2 factors that played in. One, realizing that they weren't going to be able to get players together in June for some kind of combine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the combine's not happening.
Well, like combine or tournament or showcase, whatever you want to call it. Like they realized that wasn't going to happen. And I think they also realized like, oh, wow, the NFL draft was a massive success because sports fans are starved for content right now.
Yeah, if they're smart, they're going to do a 5-round draft and they televise the whole thing. I don't think they will. I think they'll still only televise the first round, but they should televise the whole thing. Yeah,
I mean, I think the problem is they just don't have the NFL draft money to go, like, to put cameras in all these places.
No, but I mean, I feel like you could do a little bit. Like, they've gotten away in the past with only having, like, 5 people there. So, like, players, I mean.
And it looked Mickey Mouse as hell.
I agree, but you know what? Dude, people will take anything these days. Like,
yeah, but I'm just saying, I mean, not having to have people there, you can have like cameras, you know. Like,
yeah, so I don't know.
Hey, record it when you get drafted and send it to us. Like, do Instagram
it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing with that. And I'm sure we'll talk more about the draft. And
we will. Next episode.
We'll have more. We'll know more about it.
Yeah. So, but that probably brings us to the other kind of news this week is that word is circulating that the 2020 minor league season is basically not going to happen. Minor League Baseball has refuted it. The initial report was that a scouting agency had received messaging about it. Multiple
no,
other
player agency.
Well, sorry, yeah, agent, yeah, player agent. That's what I meant. I misspoke. Thank you. Multiple other agencies apparently spoke to. Was it one of the BA guys?
Yeah, it's like a BA freelancer.
I think it might have been JJ Cooper, or it might have been Josh Norris, but saying that they have heard no such thing.
I've heard speculation that
I don't know if you wanted to say
like I've heard nothing concrete, but I think pretty much a lot of people around the game are resound to the fact that there's not going to be a minor league season in the way we're used to it.
And what it would be instead is that it would basically be like extended spring training, but with everybody.
Yeah.
It would be just like minor league spring training. Like I mentioned this on Twitter this week, and someone didn't understand. They're like, no, they would still play other teams. This wouldn't just be like practice every day. There would still be scrimmaging against other teams, at least eventually.
See, that's not clear to me. I think they would get to that point eventually, but I could see like it just being the Red Sox versus the Twins, for example. Like
sure.
No one else. Like,
well, I mean, at first, and it'll expand as things. I mean, it depends on the situation.
It depends on the situation.
Let's see where we are in July.
I think that the only thing, if they are able to play in any capacity, I think that the safest thing to say right now is that it'll be like extended spring training, and they'll just be inter-squad scrimmages and just basically everyone in one place. And I think that's the only thing we can say for sure right now, whether they're going to be, and not for sure, but that's the most likely outcome, I think, right now. And I think like we're kind of seeing it with like the minor league teams, like the Portland Sea Dogs admitted in an email that they sent out today.
No, not admitted. They're offering people with 2020 tickets to exchange them for 2021.
I'm going to read you the email. What I'm saying is that they admitted that they think it is very unlikely that they play this year. I have the email right here. It says, despite the increasing likelihood we will not be able to host fans this season, we remain committed. Like they don't seem to think they're going to be hosting fans this year. So that's all I was saying is like when it's not a good sign when like I applaud the Sea Dogs first off for what they're doing.
Yeah.
With regards to giving full refunds if people want it, because that's a lot better than some things like airlines, for example, are doing. But I think that it just is like it's telling that they literally are admitting like it's the increasing likelihood we're not going to be able to host games this year. Like
right, and so so like we said, this would just happen. That's true. A fair point. So this would happen down at Fort Myers. Eventually, they would play other teams. Like I said, the point is that they're not just going to do camp day for 3 months.
No. But I think
see how it works. And the thing is, we're also going to have expanded MLB rosters. So there's going to be 4 more guys up.
Because I think
3,
the thing we need to know, I think they said it was going to be like 40. I thought they said it would be like, this is the thing.
It's all speculation right now.
Exactly. And before minor league baseball can come back, they have to make a decision with them, or even like the extended spring training thing we're talking about. They have to make a decision with the big league team because that's going to impact what goes on down at the camps.
That's true.
I think like it's worth mentioning like the most recent reports seem to be like Jeff Passan, Ken Rosenthal, the guys tied in, have all said there's increasing optimism that they'll be able to play in some capacity.
Right.
Unclear what that is. But that kind of echoes what I've heard just talking to people. Some people who were pretty like skeptical at first that there'd be a season are kind of changing tune a little bit, and they would know more than I would.
Dr. Fauci's doing that.
Yeah, but like I think everyone agrees there's not going to be fans, but like
and that's the problem.
And that's kind of where it gets sticky in terms of like finances of everything. And as we've talked about, or as they talked about, the big issue seems to be the big battle that's going to be brewing is going to be what's going to happen with player salaries, because all they said was players agreed to basically take a prorated version of their current salary.
Right.
But that current salary was based on, projected revenues in a normal year, not if there's no fans.
Well, there's a dispute about what the understanding was, whether it's with fans or without fans. So we'll see where that goes. But let's focus on the minors.
Well, no, but I think that in context, you need to understand that. And then, because that is going to impact the minor league. Because if you're playing major league games, you need to have minor leaguers in some capacity in case guys get hurt. You need your taxi squad to be able to play.
For sure. We don't disagree on that, but I'm just saying that you're going to have minor leaguers somewhere, whether it's in Fort Myers or at an affiliate. That's
but
not,
it's going to be Fort Myers. So
right. It's going to be Fort Myers, but no one's saying they're going to not the minor leaguers aren't going to play at all. If things get back to a point where where Major League Baseball can be playing games in a controlled environment without fans, that means that they're at least close to being in a situation where minor leaguers can go down to Fort Myers.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So I think if you have one, the other is coming.
But I do think that, minor league baseball, obviously, they're going to try and hold out as long as possible.
But here's the thing, is that Major League Baseball comes back without fans because last year TV for Major League Baseball is a $1.7 billion with a B proposition.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Minor League Baseball is not about TV. Minor league teams get their money from...
I was listening to a good podcast the other day, Keith Law did, because Keith Law's podcast is back now that he's at The Athletic. He talked to someone from minor league baseball.
Uh-huh.
And he was saying, look, when I was with the team, what we called it was we have 70 nights to make as much money as possible.
Exactly. And that's what it is. I've talked to people who've run, or been high up with minor league teams, and they've said the same thing. It's like, we planned the entire year for these 70, 80, whatever games we have.
70.
And yeah. But the whole idea is, it's to maximize their concessions, maximize tickets.
Yep. It's all in person.
Yeah.
Someone on our forum today was talking about MILB TV. MILB TV is not
that's
significant.
I would be stunned if they had more than 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah, probably. I was going to say on there, but I didn't want to speculate. If $50 a person, if they have 100,000 subscribers, that's $5 million they make, and there are only 100 teams on there. What about the other 60?
Yeah. And I think that I wonder if MILB, the reason they're not going to admit it is, again, we've talked about it a little bit. I think that it's a leverage play. They can't admit it because they're going to have to count on a Major League Baseball bailout. I don't see any way minor league baseball teams
and that's the reason. And we've been kind of, I'll credit Mike for making the point, because I will 100% admit that I was looking way too much at the analyzing whether or not this was going to happen side. Let's get to the base of this. This sucks.
Yeah, no,
for a lot of people,
it's awful. Everyone is impacted. The communities are. You've got the ushers who often I go to a lot of games. The ushers are often older retired people who just love baseball and they love their community, and they go out there and they work their ass off and they sweat in the summer. They put in long hours at the park with dickhead fans.
There's full-time people too that
No, I know. I was going to get there, but I was going to start at the ushers. Then you've got the full-time employees, whose jobs are, the Portland Sea Dogs are doing a great job. I shout out to them. I shouted them on Twitter, and they deserve their owners have said they're going to continue paying all their full-time employees throughout this entire season, even if they don't play. Bravo to them. I hope every minor league team follows them.
The problem is some can't.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is unfortunately that's not possible. But then you've got, the interns who aren't going to get that experience anymore. You've got the fans who have been going there for the years, season ticket holders. The players are going to miss out on that experience. Entire communities are impacted by this, and it sucks. It really sucks. Yeah. And it hurts as someone who spends a lot of time of my free time going to minor league games.
Yep.
It's going to suck not going to games this summer. There's no sugarcoating it. I thoroughly enjoy going to Lasher Park in rush hour traffic from Boston. Driving through rush hour traffic in Boston, just knowing that I'm getting to watch the Lowell Spinners play, or speeding up to Portland after late in in mid afternoon to go catch a Sea Dogs game, going down to Pawtucket. Those are the things I enjoy, and there are people all over the country that enjoy that, and no one's going to get to enjoy that this year, and that really sucks.
It's not good, and we kind of had to back up a little bit on this turf with talking about the 120 plan, which I think we got into this last time, so we don't need to get into it again, which is just that this is how that's going to get pushed through.
Yeah. But and it sucks because minor league baseball, as we know, is not going to be the same when it comes back.
No, and it can't be.
No.
It can't be. Just financially, we can't go back, which sucks. There are people that are going to lose their jobs. There are people losing their jobs everywhere over this, and that's always bad. But this is it's the area we cover in which that's happening, and that's not good.
Yeah.
It's not a good thing. Keep in mind, I did a little research on this today because I was wondering about it. I found an article from I think 2016 that said the most valuable minor league franchise at that time was worth it was in the $40 million range.
I was going to say 25 million, 30 million, but yeah, that makes sense.
40 million. When the Spinners were sold, a deal fell through before, not Drew Heller. What's his name?
Drew Weber. No,
Drew Weber was the one who used
Dave Heller.
Dave Heller bought it from Drew Weber.
Yes.
Before Dave, I don't know what Dave Heller paid for the team, but the deal that fell through before that was for around $9 million.
Yeah.
Like, these are not, huge corporations that churn out a lot of money. They're,
no,
it's not a massively profitable business.
No,
we're going to have to keep watching this because there's going to be a lot of moving parts. A lot of it would be speculation for us to talk about it right now. So we'll move on.
I mean, I think the Red Sox situation just is a little unique too. The whole Pawtucket Worcester thing is, I have no idea what the heck's going to go on there. Cause
that's going to be weird.
So it's just, there's a lot. And as you said, like, I think just to sum it up, like it's not a good situation for all parties involved. And, no one's taking it lightly. I think the impact it's going to have both in the short term with people involved with the minor league teams and then in the long term, how it's going to change the game. And,
right.
That's about it.
Yep. All right. Well, let's kind of get to, we have an update on the status of Noah's Song, which we get asked about all the time. And the news is there's no news, basically. Noah's Song, before the COVID-19 outbreak shut everything down, was still in Annapolis waiting for news on his waiver. He was not yet in Pensacola. He was still in Annapolis working out and waiting news. If you're not up on kind of world news, we've talked about on here about how the Secretary of the Navy was removed and there was an interim Secretary of the Navy. The interim Secretary of the Navy has now been removed, and I don't think anyone's been named to replace him yet, Ian. If you want to nod, am I right? No, right? Yeah. So I don't think there's a decision coming anytime soon, and plus there's just much bigger fish to fry. The thing that we don't know, and this is really what we've come to in thinking this through, realize was the bigger thing, and I'll credit Ian with kind of getting there before I did. The question isn't necessarily whether or not he's reported. The question is whether or not his clock is ticking on his 2-year service commitment before he can apply for a waiver again. We don't know whether the clock ticks if he's not yet in Pensacola. So that's really the more important thing than where he is. We are trying to find that out. We're looking into it. When we find out, we'll let you know. But as far Noah's Song is not at flight school yet. If that's the determining factor, that's not good. But hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's just the clock is ticking and he's in theory serving right now, just not at flight school. But that's the update on Noah's Song. All right, so moving along, let's get to following up on our State of the System series, Ian. As I mentioned at the top, we have run catchers, corner infielders, and middle infielders. Some interesting takeaways from all three. Three very different situations, I think.
They were interesting to research and write. I do think it's interesting, just as a general takeaway, that two of the positions the major impact has happened in the Mookie Betts trade. I just think that's funny. That catcher and second base, the top prospect at both, or catcher and middle infield, the top prospect in both was acquired in that trade, which I guess kind of highlights the importance of it to building the system.
Well, it just shows that what they're focusing on.
It also shows how bad the system was, which we'll get into in a second.
Well, but I mean, but then meanwhile, like I think you might have been about to say, the other position was the strongest in the system, I think. Yeah,
it's in good shape. So it's like
if you take the corner infield as one position, which maybe or may not be the way to do it. But
yeah, it's by far the best.
It's
position.
The strongest. Yeah,
I think it's that in terms of overall positions. Having written outfield already, it's corner infield or low minors pitchers.
Yep. Agreed.
So
agreed.
I guess
not having seen outfield yet, but yeah, I agree. Otherwise,
outfield's not good. Do you want to start with catcher? I guess.
Yeah, let's go chronologically. So we ran catchers first. This will be quick, I guess.
Yes.
There just hasn't been. I mean, look, the big thing here.
I mean, it's the elephant in the room. This is the biggest thing. No, it sucks.
I hate talking about it, but the guy should have been Daniel Flores. Yeah. They gave $3.1 million to. It was their third largest international bonus for a quote-unquote amateur, although, the Cuban guy's playing Serie Nacional. Largest they've given to a non-Cuban, now that I think about it, because the top two were Moncada and Iglesias.
Yep.
Passed away before he got into an affiliated game.
Sucked. And the stuff we heard on Daniel Flores was absurd.
Based on the reports we were hearing, I was giving serious thought to whether we should bump him up to number 2.
Yeah. And that was just from the Tricky League.
Yeah.
And he was that good. He was a generational type talent.
Well, yeah,
upside.
That's easy.
Easy. For catchers, I'm talking about in terms of for Red Sox.
He was a potential future regular.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Whatever. All right. Yeah. People talked with him glowingly.
Yeah, he wasn't the next Trout.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it sucks. And other than that, there's just, bonus wise, the next highest bonus is Austin Rye at $742,400 in the 2015 draft as the third rounder.
After that, it's $400,000.
After that, who was the 4? I'm not seeing it.
Rivaldo Avila, he signed last year.
Right. Rivaldo Avila, and then a few guys in the 300,000 range.
Mm-hmm.
Cole Cottom, Jax Groshans, Devin Fisher.
Yeah. And it kind of makes sense that, they've struggled to find catchers.
Right.
They haven't really used significant resources towards them other than
and especially before 2018. Because I think it feels like 2018 is when they realized this or something. Because before 2018, so we look at the 2014 draft onward and the July 2, 2013 international class onward.
Correct.
In the international market, the before 2018, other than Flores, they didn't give out a bonus larger than $200K to a catcher.
Yep.
In the draft before 2018. Austin Rye was the only guy that got more than $300K.
Yeah.
And he was the only. He wasn't the only day. He wasn't the only day 2. No day 1 picks, and the only other day 2 pick was Alan Marrero in the 8th round.
No, Ben Moore was a day 1 pick, but he was
day 2. You mean? Yeah, Ben Moore was a day 2 pick, but
day 2. You're right. I just think of it as in terms of top 10 rounds. But you're right.
Day 2 is rounds 3 to 10.
Yeah.
They haven't really spent a lot.
And you look at the guys they took, it's Ben Moore was a college guy. Devin Fisher was a high school guy.
Ben Moore was a college conversion guy.
Yeah, he was a college outfielder.
Caught a little bit, I think, but they moved him back to catcher.
Devin Fisher they gave a decent chunk of change to in the 20th round. He got over a slot, but he got
$300K.
He couldn't hit at all.
So he moved to pitching within 2 years.
Yeah, Austin Rye they gave a lot of money to, and he can't hit. Andrew Noviello was a high school upside guy who barely played. Alan Marrero really could pick it, but just looking, it's a bunch of glove first guys. They could never just get a guy, and then that kind of switched. I feel like
2018.
Yeah, with Cole Cottom, Jax Groshans, Jacob Herbert, those are bat first, catch second guys. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So
it's but again, the jury's still out on all those guys.
Maybe it's look, we're going to teach you to catch, and you wonder how much of it is robot umps are coming.
It's a good point. It's a fair question. But I just think it's interesting that they've devoted so little to catchers when you need 2 per level, to the point where it's almost they're just throwing it, where it's we're going to have to go out and sign a minor league free agent who can catch.
And even internationally in the last 2 years, in the 2018 class, Naisbel Marcano got $350K.
Yeah, he's interesting.
And he's interesting. We want to get eyes on him stateside. And then Rivaldo Avila in this year's class, like you mentioned, got $405K.
But it's also the interesting thing is we'll talk about this, I think, more with internationally when we get to middle and corner infield. But you don't have guys who convert to catcher in pro ball. So it's for the most part, when I'm thinking more internationally.
Somewhat.
But I'm thinking more internationally. Okay. So it's they're only signing 1 catcher a year. That's just a little surprising to me.
Yeah, it depends what's there as part of it.
I guess they are signing more. We just didn't put them.
They're signing more. They're just not spending a lot of money on it.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Jonathan Diaz, who has been ranked at times in our rankings, who was in Lowell last year, got $7,500.
Yeah, and I guess I'm forgetting that they've signed other catchers like Andreas Gary, Eric Flores. There's a bunch of Oscar Ronhell. There's a bunch of guys they're giving 3-4K to.
Right. in this
20,000.
past year's class, for example, Avila got $405K, but Renny Flores $90K, Carlos Diaz $75K,
Yeah,
Ronald
so
Rosario
I guess
$50K,
they are signing a bunch.
Diego Villoria $25K, Claudio Ricchetti $10K. Like they're signing catchers. It's just not as many as they signed this year. They're just not getting big bonuses.
They're not giving bonuses too.
Like last year, they only signed 2 catchers. It looks like, unless some guys moved.
But I do think it does emphasize that what everyone says is finding good catching is hard. It's hard to find catching prospects, and that's why when you have one like Flores, it's so unique. And that's kind of like leading into if you look at the rankings, the 2 top guys in the system were acquired via trade in 2020. Flores.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's exactly it. Is they went out and traded for Connor Wong and Johnny Pareda.
Yeah, and they're the top 2 guys in the system, and there's only one other catcher in the top 60, and that's Cole Cottom.
Right.
So,
I mean, Pareda and Cottom is probably a pick 'em.
Yeah, Pareda's a better glove. Cottom's a slightly better bat. It's not hat, bat. And so, and then it's just like, after that, there's just a draw. Like Groshans is interesting. I mean, to sleeper, I had to go to a guy who was signed Baldwin, at the very beginning of this exercise in Rodani Baldwin. Like, it's just pretty ugly. And well,
because you look at the depth chart right now and the catching, it's a lot of like, your Nick Shortinos, your Samuel Mirandas, your Charlie Maddens, your
great minor league catchers, never going to have a future in the major leagues.
I mean, probably.
Like, let's be honest here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason that they go out and like the Kevin Plawecki trade's great because you've got him under control for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Or did they trade for him? No.
No, they did. They traded Sandy Leon for him.
Right. No, not literally. No, Plawecki they signed because they traded Leon for like some random minor league guy, and the Indians cut Plawecki.
Oh, yeah, and then they signed him, but you're right. They
claimed him.
But
I think they claimed him. Yeah. So, I mean, that's why, because they aren't. There's no one coming.
But that's why they go out. They signed Jet Bandy. They signed Joe DiCarlo. Like, we see them every year signing a bunch of Orgy, triple,
re-signed Juan Centeno.
Yeah.
Signed Jonathan Lucroy.
Exactly. But I think that it does matter that they do have Christian Vasquez locked up for a few more years.
Right.
So it's a lot easier to find a backup catcher than it is a starting catcher. Thankfully, they have a starting catcher, so that does, I think, kind of change the calculus a little bit.
It does, but I mean, you never know. I mean, he could get concussed in a play at the plate on opening day. You never know. I mean,
no doubt.
As we're going to get to with the middle infield, you don't want to count on people staying healthy.
Do you know what's funny? I didn't even realize this. Christian Vasquez is the second longest tenured and really first longest tenured Red Sox right now after Pedroia.
Yeah, because he got drafted so damn
drafted
long ago.
in 2008. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, so catcher, I think the biggest takeaway was just it's the thinnest position in the system. In terms of position players, and it's arguable overall. The Wong trade was a big deal, and Vasquez is sneaky old, which I didn't realize. For some reason, I thought he was much younger.
Well, the thing that I just thought of when you said that, this is Christian Vasquez's 12th year in the organization.
Yeah, I was doing the math, and I realized
what?
And he's 30. So it's not for some reason, I assume Christian Vasquez is 25 still, but he's not, obviously. Right. So they kind of need to start figuring that out.
That's what I'm saying. He could fall off the cliff tomorrow.
So, I think that the Wong acquisition is a big deal. I was fascinated to get a look at him when the season started. Obviously, we're going to have to wait for now, but it's, power, little speed, strikes out a ton, walks a little bit. Let's see what we got there. And,
All right, let's move along to something more fun to talk about. Let's go to the corner infield. By far, the deepest group we look at in this series. Just looking at the names in the lineup that stand out: Chavis, Dahlbeck, Casas, and then some kind of long shot guys in the draft like a Howlett or Brandon Howlett or a Devlin Granberg. And then you go internationally, and the first name you see is Rafael Devers.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
It's a good group of guys. When you look at a Dahlbeck who can play both positions, You look at a Chavis. I mean, it seems like they've kind of given up on him at third, in part because there's just really no need with Devers there.
Yeah. He's a first baseman now. More or less.
It's first and second, and that's where the need is.
Yeah, it's first and second, but for this exercise, he's first base.
Well, let's look at it this way: if Devers gets hurt for a short period, right? If he goes on the IL for the minimum amount of time, right? Like, who's the starting third baseman while he's out? Probably Chavis.
I mean,
is it going to be Lynn, Yairo Munoz?
It might be Yairo Munoz. I don't know. It's a good question.
Jonathan Arraez?
It's probably Chavis, but
Chavis.
He didn't play very much there last year. Like, even in AAA, I'm trying to.
Because last year Holt was the guy who spelled him.
Yeah, but if you look at it, Chavis played last year in the majors. He played 2 games at third base.
Right. Well, I mean, again, Devers was playing every day, and they had Holt.
But if you play in the minors too, I don't think I'm pretty sure he didn't play much in the minors.
Well, he wasn't in the minors for very long. He came up in May.
That's a good point. He was in the minors for 40 for like 10 games. No, he was in the minors for like 18 games. So you're right. Yeah.
Right.
And he played the majority. He played his second base and first base the same amount, or third base the same amount.
Right.
But it's a good question, but I think that just it's noteworthy how many more resources they've devoted to the position. Like, they've used high draft picks, they've used big bonuses, both internationally and domestically, on these positions.
Right. Right. And it's just there's no, like, the other thing is they've held on to guys.
Yeah, they haven't really traded from this except for Nolberth Romero.
Yeah, and I mean Sam Travis when they DFA'd him.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they've held on to guys, and that's why you wind up. I mean, the thing is, when you hold on to guys, that's when you wind up with, like, 2020 Josh Ockamy doesn't have a ton of value. 16 Josh Ockamy might have a little bit of value.
Yeah, when he was coming off that Greenville year where he hit really well. Was it Greenville? I think.
Might have been.
That's the dilemma. It's like, do you maximize a return or do you see a future big leaguer? Yeah, it was 2017 in Salem, 275. Yeah, with 11 home runs with almost a 400 on base.
11 home runs in the Carolina League, I'll take.
Yeah, exactly. And like a 400 OBP, I'll take that.
Yeah. So, there's a point at which, we say, the Red Sox traded all these guys for Craig Kimbrell. It's like, well, yeah, if they'd held on to Javier Guerra,
they'd have a pitcher now.
They'd have a reliever, I guess.
Yeah.
He'd be Yohan Ibar.
Yeah.
He'd be older Yohan Ibar.
Logan Allen would be like the third starter, so.
Well, I mean, right, but that's what happened. That's what I'm saying is
but I
not everybody who gets traded turns into a stud.
No, but I think, like, having Devers gives him such a security blanket both now and going forward because he's locked in for 5 more years, I think.
Right.
So, like, and he's turned himself into a legit third baseman, and I think it's easier to find a first baseman. As much to people would, I guess, disagree with that, but whatever. I think that it's easier to find a first baseman than a third baseman, and I think they have their first baseman in the future. The problem is he's 2 years away.
They only have Devers for 4 years. They have through 2023.
They should extend him. But
no kidding.
Costas is 2 years away, you think?
Oh gosh, I'd say 3.
Salem this year. There's
one
not
level
this
a year.
So let's say he starts in Portland next year.
Yeah, 3 years. If everything goes perfectly, 3 years. But he's so young, I just don't see him doing the Benintendi like. And that's the other thing too that we haven't really talked about, but it came up the other day is that the Rays were much more methodical bringing prospects up level by level. They were kind of notorious for this. Whereas Dave Dombrowski, when you reach Portland and if you performed there, you're on the radar.
Well, but that's the question is that a, like, how much of that was Dombrowski versus, like, there's a lot of holdovers are still here who were with Dombrowski. You know what I mean? Yeah,
but Dombrowski's the one making the call.
I guess so, yeah.
And Bloom's the one making the call. Like Ben Crockett's not going to overrule Chaim Bloom on the call up to the majors. The call up from AA to AAA, sure. Like, that's more of a Ben Crockett decision.
I do think the Rays, though, often did get criticized for being too slow with certain guys.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly my point.
So it was like, you got to find a medium. And like,
right,
I think the one good thing,
yeah,
I was just going to say the one good thing with Costas is you have kind of a built-in bridge player in Dahlbeck. You know what I mean? Like you have someone
Dahlbeck and Chavis.
Yeah, who I think I wish one of them was a lefty. But like with Dahlbeck / Chavis, you have the hope is one of them can take over as the everyday guy.
Right.
And then in a couple of years, maybe one of them becomes the DH. Maybe Costas is too big to play first base and he becomes a DH. Like you can figure it out if Costas is legit by then.
Right. Or
still legit. And so that's kind of how you get like, they have a nice split of talent, which we'll get into later with some of the other positions. The talent is very heavily split in a bad way, like level wise, whereas I think first base is more evenly spread out throughout the organization, which is good for them.
And I mean, the thing too, to keep in mind is that a lot of this might depend on what happens with JD Martinez.
Yes.
If he opts out at the end of this year, we've talked about there being depth and that Bobby Dahlbeck was a candidate to get traded. Right now, I don't think you can trade him because if JD Martinez opts out, you might need his bat and Chavis's bat, and if Peraza sticks at second and whoever the hell else is around, because that right side of the infield is one giant question mark. And if you have to now account for the DH position, I don't know where they're going with it. Especially if I feel like this year might be the gateway towards the NL adopting the DH.
Yeah, and I think the other thing with Dahlbeck that's going to be interesting is, what do they do with him this year? Like I'm genuinely, I think Red Sox stats.
Red Sox stats.
Shout
brought to you
out
by Chico's bail bonds.
Yeah, mentioned that on Twitter. It's like and I was thinking about it. Like that's a weird position if they aren't going to be playing minor league games, especially out of the gate for even like spring training.
Even if they're a month behind, say they're a month behind,
he has to be ready, right? I just don't see.
Is he any more ready than anyone else? Right, you mean ready for the majors? Yeah, I mean,
because even if he's not on, let's say they expand the rosters and he's not even not part of that.
Yep,
he's going to be one of the first people to come up if someone got hurt.
Well, because he's on the 40 now.
Correct.
So he comes back to MLB. I mean, look, when camp reopens, even the guys that got optioned are coming back.
Yes, I think they're going to bring like 50 guys. They have to.
They have to.
You have no choice.
Because the pitchers aren't going to be ready to go 50 or 5 innings.
No.
So you're going to bring a lot of guys back, and I think he's got a chance to make the team, especially if they're going to expand it to like 30, 35 players.
I think he does too, because just looking at like the organizational depth chart from this year, like our 2020 projected rosters, we have it 29 right now?
We have 29 because that was the last report.
But I think it's going to be more, and I think everyone agrees it's going to be more.
I don't think everyone agrees, because it's like, what's the roster? Because you aren't going to have 40 guys on the roster collecting service time. That's crazy.
That's a good point. I wonder if they'll do like the game day.
They're going to have a taxi squad.
Yeah,
you have to have a taxi squad.
And in terms of a taxi squad, I would take Dahlbeck over anyone else they have for the corner infield spots in AAA.
I think there's a taxi squad that he's on. Here's what I do. I think there's a taxi squad and he's on it. And once minor league camp opens up, depending on how he looks, you send him down. If he looks like he's better than Mitch Moreland right now, screw it. Cut Moreland and call Dahlbeck up and start him at first.
I agree. So
but it depends on how they look.
Yeah. So I think, it's going to be interesting with him. I mean, Costas, we don't really need to talk about. He's the top guy. I think some of the other guys near the bottom are kind of interesting. Like you and I had a discussion about this when I was writing it. It's like the question of player whose stock could rise in 2020 and the sleeper. There were a few guys who fit that in addition to the guys we mentioned.
Yeah, there were a number of guys. It depended on how you wanted to classify it.
But like Albert Feliz I'll freely admit, this is me taking liberties because he played like 2 more games at first base than in the outfield or something.
Oh, I mean, whatever, where we classify him, it's fine.
But no, because he signed as an outfielder, but he played more first base and there's way too many outfielders already. So I moved him to the infield. Right. But he's someone who I think people should keep an eye on just because he's got some raw power. Like he hit 9 home runs last year.
He also strikes out a ton.
We'll get there. That's not as much fun to talk about. So stop, ruining everything.
Fine.
But he hit 9 home runs, which I went back to 2006, which was as far back as you can go with DSL stats, and no Red Sox guy had ever hit more than like 6 in a year before that.
Well,
and he hit 9 last year.
Can I just add a note though?
What?
Danny Diaz hit more home runs per game. He just got called up.
Danny Diaz did not hit more home runs per game last year. Or do you mean 2 years ago?
No, 2 years ago when he was in the DSL. He hit six and half as many at-bats as Gonzalez and Feliz had.
He didn't get hurt. He didn't get called up, though. He got hurt.
Oh, got hurt. Okay, right.
Like, didn't he break his hamate or something?
Hamate bone. You're right. Sorry.
I
mean, so Diaz had more home runs. His home run pace was higher. And I think Devers' home run pace might have been
maybe, but I was just going off raw. I just thought it was.
But looking at raw home runs, that's the most 9 for Feliz and Brian Gonzalez was the most we've seen in a long time. He's got a huge strikeout rate, so that's a problem. And then, so that was like Danny Diaz, another guy, didn't get mentioned in that area, but still hanging around and still has some people who believe in him. We'll see what happens with him when he comes back. Brandon Howlett, same thing, disappointing year. Nick Northcutt, disappointing year again. That's kind of the trend with a lot of like the others of note. Right. And then I think the last guy we should mention is the curious case of Pedro Castellanos, where I mean, he's the sleeper of sleepers.
I have no idea what to do with him because
Mike loves him.
He's higher in the rankings than I would have him. I think you agree with me.
No, I pushed for where he is because here's the thing. If you don't mind me kind of stepping in here as kind of the Pedro Castellanos advocate. For years, he puts on a nice batting practice. He's a big guy. He hits for the power.
Was great.
He hits for the power you would expect in batting practice. He could pick it a little bit. Like he's not a butcher defensively.
No, and
he's not the left fielder they keep trying to make him.
Yeah, he's a first baseman.
He's a first base only.
But he makes a ton of contact. He doesn't strike out.
Makes a ton of contact. Doesn't strike out. Does not hit for any power whatsoever. And I added the numbers into the piece here, so I'll read them again because I know we've talked about them, but they're fascinating.
Yeah.
To start his career in where is it? His first 1,209 professional plate appearances over 3.5 seasons. He hit 9 home runs.
Like what? How? And I think we need the context. Pedro Castellanos is listed at 6'3", 244.
He's taller than me.
6'4",
he's taller than me. I'm 6'3".
240, 250.
So that's a home run every 134 plate appearances.
He's like a massive human being.
Yeah. Hitting for zero power.
And it needs to be emphasized, his batting practice, he will hit bombs. And you'll have scouts who look at me and are like, what's up here? And I'm like, he hit 1 home run last year. And they're like, excuse me? And I'm like, yeah, it's unbelievable. I don't get it either. And
in the last half of last year, in 123 plate appearances, he hit 8 home runs.
Yeah. Who knows?
1 every 15 at-bats.
If that
in the freaking Carolina League.
Yeah.
What?
And he slugged 580 over that time. So there were a bunch of doubles, too. It wasn't just home runs.
Yeah, and the thing is, you're inclined to think that's real because A, it's the Carolina League. There's no fluke home runs. B, that's what he does in batting practice.
Yeah. And, this is why he's so fascinating to me. Is I think we need to emphasize, strikeout rate, things like that are so important in terms of determining future success.
Right.
And his strikeout rate, I was just trying to bring it up.
He doesn't. That's all you got to say. He just doesn't. Believe us. Just take our word for it.
I can't spell his name right now.
Don't question it.
I don't think it's really bothering me. Here it is. I got it. So last year in Salem, he had, and this includes the first half, he struck out 14% of the time. That's for a power hitter, that's a crazy good rate. Well, he doesn't walk at a huge rate. It's 5%.
Power hitter.
And his BABIP, it's not like his BABIP is insane either. He hit 280. It was a pretty legit so it's just, I don't know.
I can remember the year he was in the GCL, and one of the guys who was in the GCL DM'd me on Twitter, one of the players who was his teammate, not in the system anymore, reached out to me on Twitter saying, you guys are sleeping on Pedro Castellanos. He's the best first baseman I've ever played with. Which I kind of wanted to be you've been in the system for 2 years and it's only been in rookie ball, but okay.
But you look at this
yeah, I mean, he's just he can feel the position and he can hit, and I'm like, okay, great. You got to hit for power when you're a first base only guy.
Yeah, 329, 326, 339, 333, 302, then 276, which is still good in the Carolina League.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be he's an interesting case, and he was one I was most intrigued to see in spring training, just to see what was going on there. But also, that jump to Portland for him was going to be a big thing and very telling. He
was with the Portland team very late last year. it didn't mean anything because I think it basically was because was it Dahlbeck who was up in Major League Camp really late or something that like caused the kind of ripple effect that sent him back down to Salem. But like he looked like he belonged with a team that was a lot of guys that were going to wind up in Portland.
Yeah. So I don't know. He's just a curious case and he's a sleeper because I didn't realize this. We're the only people who have him ranked. Like he's not in Fangraph's top 38 or whatever.
And I'm okay with that personally.
Yeah. I'm fine with it because if he hits and if the power is legit, then he's like a top 20 guy borderline. So
yeah. Oh, my wife was standing outside the door and just scared the out of me. That was too funny. God.
I'm sorry if you heard that. Chris just saw an alien.
Oh, God.
To the ghost.
My wife was looking at the cat who's sleeping angelically behind me. Ian can't see her because of the microphone. My new microphone. I haven't mentioned my new microphone yet.
You mean your lamp?
My lamp. To everyone on Twitter who made that joke, I'm sorry I didn't get it. Anyway, let's move on to middle infielders.
I got it, and I thought it was fantastic.
Let's move on to middle infielders. All right, so middle infield. One huge takeaway that I was stunned by is the Red Sox, other than Yoan Moncada and maybe Anthony Flores, if you want to throw him in there, have spent no money at shortstop.
And we'll chat him, but yeah.
CJ Chatham as a second rounder who got $1.1 million, which was under slot for the pick.
Yeah, and that was in 2016.
Like, what?
Yeah, I don't know.
I was stunned.
Before 20, yeah, it's an interesting.
It's even more so than it's like catcher but amplified. So again, before not even 2018, before 2019 in the draft, highest bonuses on middle infielders: C.J. Chatham $1.1 million. Next highest is Brett Netzer at $475 as a third rounder, which was under slot. After that, you're down at $130. Like what?
Yeah,
$130K for a 20th rounder in Yomar Valentin.
They just have not devote resources to middle infield.
And the phenomenon, let me just, and then internationally, obviously there's the one giant outlier in Yoan Moncada who got $31.5 million. Not even counting the tax, which was, I think it was like 100% tax. So it was like $63 million. Him, huge bonus. Anthony Flores, $1.4 million. Big bonus. Other than that, or just total, largest bonus is John Frank Salazar this year. Largest bonus before that was two of the two 300K guys in 2016, and Antonio Pinheiro and Eduardo Torrealba, who had their contracts voided. Like,
yeah,
250K, 205K. Like, what?
And you know what? I will say, internationally, I get it because. Like, everyone signs out of Latin America, and I talked about this in the article. A lot of people sign as a middle infielder, and some of them are not middle infielders.
Some of them moved off, and we named a couple of them. I mean, one of them is Danny Diaz, who moved to the corner infield, and he was $1.4 million. And he moved immediately, but that was because he also, like, added 3 inches and about 50 pounds.
Yeah, like, he never played shortstop. But so that does need to be mentioned, and there are a few guys, like, who moved to outfield. A couple guys
this year. Nelson Abreu moved to the outfield. He got, like, 400, I think.
And then Joe Stick. What's his name? Your favorite?
No
name?
idea. It's like Joe Stickson.
I have no idea how to say it, but yeah,
Joe
that
Stickson?
guy. Joe Stickson Garcia, like, signed as a shortstop. And I don't know. It's late.
The name of this episode is going to be like phonetically spelled Joe Stinixian.
But anyway, the point is that a lot of guys sign as middle infielders, and I kind of like the strategy of just giving a bunch of them good bonuses and, like, kind of seeing if any of them click. Like, I'm behind that strategy internationally, but I also do think you have to give out some big bonus on occasion. And I guess they did do that once with Flores, but like it's just looking at like the top middle infield prospects to come, just thinking about like Wander Franco was like a huge money shortstop who got a ton of
It's more likely that you would have a big bonus middle infielder than a big bonus catcher.
That's my point, and they don't have them.
It's weird. They just haven't. There's one year they basically didn't sign a middle infielder, right?
Yeah, 2016.
2016 is the year they couldn't sign anybody.
Oh, no. 2014 they didn't sign anyone, and 2018.
Well, no, I mean, Moncada was technically the 2014 year. But yeah, before they signed Moncada in March, they didn't have any middle infielders that class.
No, and then, I mean, even you look at, like...
2015, they signed a bunch of them to, like, 200, 300K bonuses.
Yeah, but they all
like
got voided.
Yeeson Coca,
I guess they didn't all get voided.
Yeeson Coca got traded to Milwaukee. Ever Luis Lozada stuck around, and he's kind of a second base guy. 2016 was the year they couldn't sign anybody. 2017 was Flores and Diaz who moved, and it also included Cedar Rafaela for $10K. I mean, I think that's the other thing, is that they've done a very good job finding guys for cheap.
Oh, definitely. That's the other takeaway, is like they have identified talent. Like, as you said, Rafaela, like I liked Esteban Quiroz before he got traded. Quiroz. Yeah.
That's who they signed out of the Mexican League. So they basically signed him for whatever they paid his Mexican League team.
Like Yeeson Coco was another guy we liked, and he's been all right with the Brewers. They have some guys.
Right. And then 2018 and 19, they finally oh, wait, we need shortstops.
Yeah, and then they
went crazy.
They've gone big, and the problem is, though, that they had nothing in the high minors.
Oh, you know what I was thinking of, Ian? They didn't draft a single middle infielder in 2018 who was more than an or guy.
Yeah. But and then you look, and that created this massive gap where they had to pivot to Jeter Downs in the Mookie Betts trade.
Right.
Because that's their top guy, and that's why they went out and Rule 5 Jonathan Arroz. They had such a big whatever his name is. They had such a big gap. What is his name? How do you say it?
Arraez.
Jonathan Arraez. They had to go out and get him. They have such a big gap, and the guys, all their top guys, and you can see it at the bottom when we talk about the players. Everyone of interest is in the low minors except for Downs, Chatham, and Arraez. Yeah,
and Chatham's the only one who hasn't been acquired since J2 2017.
Yeah.
Because J2, you have Chatham is second round in 2016.
Yep.
J2 2017, you've got Flores and you've got Rafaela.
Yep.
2018,
Brainer.
July 2018 is Brainer Bonacci for $290K.
And then 2019
draft is Cameron Cannon, Matthew Lugo, Alex Arrow, Carson Simas, Daniel Baxt.
They're
all interesting.
Their top two picks were both shortstops.
Top two picks are shortstops. They both get more than $1 million. Arrow in the 17th round gets $125K. Carson Simas at 25 at the 25th round gets $175K, which is $50K over slot. Yeah. And then Daniel Baxt in the 28th round only gets $75K, but he's interesting as heck.
And I still give him credit for that, even though he retired. Yeah.
I mean, that's a heck of a. I mean, low risk, because he probably doesn't even get the full bonus.
No,
I'm sure. He probably only gets a portion of it for playing last year. And then internationally this year, they sign, Jose Mendez $200K, Alan Castro $100K, John Frank Salazar $400K. Not to mention Jose Nixon Garcia, who moved to the outfield, and they had another infielder who moved to the outfield.
And I think Lionel James was a shortstop also as an amateur, but he moved to the corner.
Moved to the corner, okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've the last 2 years, they've really put a lot more. So it's not just a Chaim Bloom recognizing it thing. Oh, and then we mentioned Ryan Fitzgerald signing out of Indie Ball in 2018.
And I do think, though, that it's worth mentioning that my theory as to why this is they pretty much got a little
yes, I like this theory.
On their laurels that we have Xander Bogaerts, we have Dustin Pedroia, we're good until 2020, 2021, so we don't need to worry about it for those, that little stretch.
Right.
Especially when you have Moncada, when they had Moncada.
Yeah.
So it's basically we have Xander Bogaerts is young. We know he's going to be good, which he was. Mm-hmm. We have Dustin Pedroia. He's, old, reliable. And when he's done, we'll have Moncada. Well, Pedroia gets hurt. Moncada gets traded. And all of a sudden, you have Jose Peraza starting at second base.
Yeah. I mean, who did they even start last year? I don't even remember.
Brock Holt.
Was it Brock mostly?
Yeah.
A little bit of Marco Hernandez sprinkled in, who, by the way, also a trade acquisition for Felix Dubronc in December 2014.
But yeah, it was Brock Holt last year.
Brock Holt, Marco Hernandez, a little bit of Chavis too.
Yeah, they just they didn't think they had a need almost. And, I think we should probably discuss this at a later date. I want to have the Moncada trade discussion, not on this episode, but.
More than we already have. I mean, I think we basically had that whole discussion that week. I still stand by our emergency podcast, because I think
when he got traded.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I want to have the looking back now trade discussion. We'll do that in the future. But
I mean, like we say in here, it's to me, it is exactly. I think this comparison is 100% spot on, and that's why I kind of added it to this piece. It's the direct comp of the Hanley Ramirez trade.
Yeah.
Flags fly forever. Getting Josh Beckett and Mike Lowell directly leads to the 2007 World Series. No question. Trading for Chris Sale, you don't win in 2018 without him.
Even though he wasn't good in 2018 in the World Series, but yeah. He wasn't good in the playoffs. He was pitching. Wasn't he a reliever?
No, he wasn't. He came in at the end because it was the last out, clincher.
I don't know. I just thought he wasn't very good in 2018 for some reason.
No. Well, I think he may have gotten lit up in one of the World Series games, but
postseason pitching. Where is it?
I mean, you got to look at the game, at least the series by series.
Oh no, he was very good.
He was great.
He was good. No, he was awful. Oh, that was 2017. He was terrible. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
2017, he was awful. He got lit up by Houston.
Yeah, 2018, he kind of got the monkey off his back a little bit.
Yeah, no, he was good in 2018. You're right.
Because they basically sold their souls to the devil for that one.
Yeah,
that's probably why he stunk last year. But yeah, where's postseason? Now I need to look. Dang it.
I have it up right here. In 2017, it was...
I'm on his minor league page.
6.1 innings against the Yankees, 5 hits. Now, it was just he was hurt, so he couldn't go a lot. He only threw...
Right.
He only started one game in each series and could only throw 4 or 5 innings. That's what it was.
Right.
He just couldn't throw very much.
Right. I mean, he went 5 innings in 2 games. So in his start, he went 4 innings in the World Series.
That's what it was. He
struck out 10. No, not 10, because I think he was 7 in the 4 innings, and then he struck out all 3 guys he faced in the clincher, because it was just...
Yeah, because if you remember, he only pitched off
finger in the air. But yeah, he stunk in 2017.
Yeah, but in the playoffs. In 2018 in the regular season, though, he only threw 158 innings because he was injured for part of the year.
Including September.
Yes, and then he obviously last year was a disaster.
Right.
But yeah, no, I do think that it's something we should talk about in the future, but I think we should just quickly run through the middle infielders. Because the Jeter Downs thing is, I think, something we need to talk about, because it was such a big gap in the system, and we've talked a lot, there's kind of tiers in the system, and he immediately went into that top tier. Him and Casas, 2-person tier.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's either the number 1 or number 2 prospect in the system.
But my point is, to be able to acquire that player at such a big position of need is huge, because he's someone who they clearly view as the second baseman of the future.
It's pretty obvious, yeah. I mean, they tried to acquire the high-level starting pitcher, or the high-level pitching. Which I would say is the number 1 need. Yeah. And the number 2 need was a middle infielder.
And they got that. And they got that. And he's just a really interesting piece. That's a big deal. And then I think just kind of wrapping up too, as we talked about, the injuries thing, guys are all in the low minors. We got Matthew Lugo, who a lot of guys, he's a big upside guy. I saw him a little bit last year, very athletic. Yep. Not sure what the standout tool is, but I think he does a lot of things well, projectable. It's all going to depend on where his body goes and kind of how he takes to how his game matures.
He's a more fortunate man's version of what we thought Anthony Flores was entering last year, which is maybe not a great comp.
Yeah, Anthony Flores we probably mentioned him. I don't know what to make of him now. Yeah. The guy we saw 2 years ago was a potential top 5 prospect in the system. The guy we saw last year is borderline not rankable.
I mean, how much of that do you think is just that he got in his own head when things were spiraling out of control?
I think a lot. His at-bats were so bad. He just went up there looking defeated. I think part of it was he definitely didn't. I don't know if it was out of shape or he grew, because you got to remember these kids are 17, 18 years old. I remember, your body changes at that age. So let's be honest, he got bigger and not in a good way.
Not quite in a Danny Diaz way, but yeah.
No, but it was he lost his quick twitch athleticism, and he didn't look as loose. It was a lot it wasn't as fluid. He struggled in the field, and he just couldn't hit it all. And he's a wild card. I don't really know what to make of him.
What about Cannon? You have some thoughts on Cannon?
Cannon, I was very down on. I thought he looked terrible last year. I'll be honest. But I kind of learning that he was making some swing adjustments and watching some video. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, because a guy with that track record should not struggle that much.
I mean, he led D1 in doubles,
exactly, and he hit 400 at Arizona, and then he hit 205, 289, 335 in the Penn League, a league in which Gilberto Jimenez hit 350. That's a problem.
Well, but I mean, he did that because he's fast.
No, I know, but my point is
that's not a good comp.
No, but Cameron Cannon, the 43rd overall pick,
should not be hitting 205 in the Penn League is the bottom line. And I think I wonder how much of it was just Cannon. They tried to tweak his, I think it was his load, and it changed. And if you've been hitting the same way,
why don't you explain what that means really quick?
So like the load is just, when the ball's coming in, the way you're getting your weight transfer ready. You like a lot of guys will use a leg lift or what?
Where your hands are, your timing mechanism.
Exactly.
It's the time between when you set up for the pitch and when the pitch is starting to come in.
Exactly. I'm trying to figure out.
Prepares you for the weight transfer forward, for the rotation, and for bringing your hands towards the ball.
Exactly. And basically, they saw something they didn't like, and they tried to tweak it.
Well, and that's what they said. I mean, when he was drafted, everyone said he didn't hit for any power, but he's a candidate for a swing mechanics change.
Yeah. And so I wonder how much of it was that, and that's why I wouldn't write him off. He's still a top 20 guy.
Yep.
And then you kind of have the wild cards, I think, which are the international guys. Because Brainer Bonacci is another one where we've talked about it a lot. If we had Instructs, we'd have a lot more info on him.
Instructs and spring training.
Yeah, right.
We kind of got doubly screwed.
The reports on him are pretty huge arm, which is weird because he's 5'9", 5'10". I saw him a little bit. He's very small, but he had some bat speed. I saw one swing, looked pretty good. And so he was interesting. And then Rafaela, I did see a decent amount of last year, and he's very small. And he's got sneaky big pop, but
he also
I don't think
swings from his heels.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of upside, but they still have they just have guys, which they haven't had in the past, which is nice. Just guys to watch. And but as we said, other than Downs, and they're all in the low minors. So
I could see middle infield in the low minors being a position they trade from, even if only just to make room playing time wise.
Yeah, the playing time thing's going to be fascinating because you look at the projected rosters, and I mean
that's where the way this year might help them.
Yeah, it's a good point. I didn't think of it that way, but
because if you look at, I think I like your projection more than what we have on the website, because on the website we have Lugo starting in Lowell. If Lugo starts in Lowell, I don't get how it works. Well, it's not a problem because what it means if Lugo starts in Lowell. Right, so on the website we have Cameron Cannon and Greenville, of these guys we've talked about. In Lowell we have Lugo, Rafaela, and Flores. Mm-hmm. That can work because the three of them would split second, third, short.
Yes.
And I guess, Flores probably becomes your primary second baseman. Rafaela plays a lot of third base. He did that in the DSL as well. But I'm more comfortable. And then you've got Carson Simas there too, who got over slot. I'm more comfortable sending Lugo to quote-unquote Greenville. He plays mostly short. Cameron Cannon plays mostly second.
Yeah.
And then in Lowell, Rafaela is your primary shortstop and Flores is your primary second baseman.
Or they probably split 50-50.
Well, they split and maybe you have Simas there as well.
Yeah. But I think the thing with two is I don't think Cannon's a shortstop at all.
No one who saw him thought he was.
No, his arm is not good he just isn't a good defender at shortstop. So
he can play it in the low minors if it's a comfort thing, but if you look at it, he barely played more shortstop than second base last year, and that's only because after he signed, most of his games came at short. Yeah. And then if there's a point at which he plays more second than short, even with part of it is Flores is there, but they were fine moving Flores over to second. So
then at the end of the year, they called up Lugo, and Lugo was playing short, in playoff games over Cannon. Cannon was playing second.
Right.
So
because Flores just kind of took a seat on the bench.
He couldn't start. Yeah. So I just think that they're in a good position in the low minors. They have that one top guy in the high minors, and we kind of know why. When you actually dive into it, though, you know why that is the situation, and that's kind of what the article, the biggest takeaway for me.
Right. All right. We got to get to emails. They can't hear you nodding on the audio podcast, my friend.
Yes, we should do that.
Okay. Thank you very much for participating in this 2-person podcast. I appreciate it, my friend. We have a few emails. We'll get to those again. It's podcast@soxprospects.com. We want to talk about what you want to hear about. First email is from Sammy. Sammy says, "Hey guys, I have a long shot trade idea." I don't think we read this last time, Ian, but let me know.
We didn't.
Okay. So clearly the Orioles have some sort of infatuation with former Red Sox players, Hector Velasquez, Travis Lakins, etc. And the two teams have made deals in the past, most recently in the Erod trade. I feel like they've made trades more recently than that, but I'm not.
Andrew Kashner for Nobarth Romero and Elio Prado last year.
All right, there it is. Thank you, Ian.
Why they keep him around.
That is. Since the Red Sox have a ton of talent in the infield and the Orioles have almost none, major or minor league, why not kick the tires on some of Baltimore's young arms, of which they have quite a few? He lists Grayson Rodriguez, DL Hall, Dylan Tate, Hunter Harvey, Stuart Means, Wojciechowski, etc. Here's my idea. Boston deals Michael Chavis or Bobby Dahlbeck and a mixture of Cameron Cannon, Matthew Lugo, CJ Chatham for John Means. This boosts a barren major/minor league infield crop for Baltimore and nabs Boston a 2 to 4 starting pitcher. Both teams trade from a strength and boost a weakness. Sets the Red Sox up nicely for 2021 and beyond as well. I know it's a long shot, but it's fun to think about. Is it too much to give up for Boston or not enough? Would love to hear your thoughts. Ian, what do you think about trading Michael Chavis or Bobby Dahlbeck and a middle infielder for John Means? And I'm doing what I assume you are right now, which is looking up John Means. John Means is...
No, I'm not, I know who John Means is. I'm looking up his contract.
I mean, I know who he is. So he's 27, for those who aren't paying attention.
I'm just wondering how many years of control he has.
Former 11th round pick out of West Virginia University. Last year in the majors, he was an all-star and finished second in the Rookie of the Year voting. 12-11 with a 3.60 ERA and 155 innings. He struck out 121 and walked 38. 441 FIP. 131 ERA plus on BREF, 7 Ks per 9, 3.8 strikeout to walk ratio. B-WAR, he was a 4.8 B-WAR pitcher.
It's 3 on Fangraphs.
Yeah.
I don't think it's enough. I don't think the Orioles would do it.
You don't think that they would do it for like Dahlbeck and Lugo?
I don't think they would do it for Chavis, which was the first person I heard.
I said Dahlbeck or Chavis, and then one of the middle infielders.
I don't think it's enough still. You're getting a cost control pitcher who's got 5 more years.
Right.
That's the issue. Like pitching at the premium on pitching is absurd. Like guys with 5 years of control don't really get traded. Like I'm thinking back to some of like the pitcher trades this offseason, and like I'm thinking, like Zach, there was the Padres and the Brewers did one, and it was Luis Urias and Eric Lauer for Zach Davies and Trent Grisham. Like, I think that's like the closest comparison I could think of. But Eric Lauer what was Eric Lauer's win? Eric Lauer was like a 2-win player last year for the Padres, and he got traded. And, you know, you traded with him a top 100 prospect, and you got back like a top 100.
Does the lack of pedigree bother you? Because Means was not ranked in the 2019 BA
No, I mean, it does, but like I'm trying to think of like
30.
I'm like, number 30. I first was skeptical, but like I'm kind of talking myself into it in the sense that I don't know if I would do it. I don't think I'm not sure he's very good, frankly. But like
Who?
Comparable pitcher, John Means.
Yeah, no, that's the thing that bothers me is it's like, are you buying high on him?
Because like I'm looking at some of the pitchers who were traded last year. So like the pitchers I was thinking of who were similar, like Eric Lauer was traded. Eric Lauer was 2.3 Fangraphs WAR for the Padres last year, and he's the same team control till 2025. And he was
similarity scores. Where's the similarity scores?
Ooh, John Means or Eric Lauer?
Yeah, so Means similarity scores. Similar pitchers through age 26. You get guys like Adam Conley, Wei Yin Chen, Jordan Montgomery, Armando Galarraga. Most similar pitchers, Jordan Montgomery.
But like, look at Eric Lauer. And Eric Lauer, that trade was like Eric Lauer and a top 100 prospect for Trent Grisham and Zach Davies. So like maybe John Means wouldn't cost as much as I think he would, but I'm just not sure. Like,
I just don't think either team makes that trade.
No, at first I thought the Orioles wouldn't, but I think neither team would make it because the player makes more sense for them. Because the Orioles, right, at the end of the day, they have to have big league quality players to pitch those innings.
Right.
And like, let's be like, I don't know what like Michael Chavis or Bobby Dahlbeck does for them because they have Ryan Mountcastle, who's basically the same player. Like Ryan Mountcastle and Michael Chavis are very similar in my opinion. They both strike out a ton, don't walk, don't really have a position. Like they're probably first baseman. You know what I mean? Like something like that. Like they have similar guys, and just like versus Means is probably harder to replace. And they don't, the Orioles have a bunch of low minor shortstops. Like they have Adam Hall. They took Gunnar Henderson in the second round last year. So I just don't know what the motivation is. And I feel like teams just weirdly have this like thing about not doing interdivision trades.
Well, but like we said, and like Sammy said, they've traded with the Orioles plenty.
I mean, yeah, I guess. I just think that if they're going to get a starting pitcher, I still think the San Diego option is the most likely. Because San Diego's
Myers.
They take Will Myers' contract and they get like Cal Quantrill.
And the thing with buying Will Myers, the thing with doing that deal now, if that is going to go down, is you've now got more spots on the roster.
Yeah,
one of which you can give to Will Myers.
Exactly.
Much easier.
So I just think that's the route they're going to go if they're going to buy a starting pitcher. And let's be honest, if they do start up the season, it'll be a discussion I'm sure we'll have more closer to when we have more concrete. Their pitching is not built to handle that. What is going to become
Red Sox?
Yeah, it is not built to handle what is.
I mean, it's going to be all kinds of bullpenning.
Yeah, they're going to be needing like a ton of extra pitchers because you think about it, like teams that have like 6 starters are going to be in a lot better shape because they're going to be fewer off days. There's going to be double headers. Like,
have you been following the Baseball Reference simulated 2020 season at all?
No.
So Baseball Reference's season is simulating the 2020 season on out of the park baseball, and the Red Sox are currently in last place in the East, but their rotation has been a cluster.
Really?
Just an absolute cluster.
I mean, let's be honest. Like, it was in trouble for a regular, normal 5-game season.
Right.
Five. Like, you know, when you only need 5 starting pitchers. In a shortened situation, they just aren't built for that.
Yeah, they're 12-21 in this, and they're like, whatever. It's just a simulation, and there are things in here that happened that are weird, like they DFA'd Kevin Pillar or something. It was just like, it's strange. But anyway, like games started, like. Eduardo Rodriguez has been kind of a stud, right? But then it's like Eovaldi is the only other player to start 7 games, and he's been not great. They DFA'd Ryan Weber, and then the following players have all had 3 starts: Darwinzon Hernandez, Tanner Houck, Brian Mata, Colin McHugh. And then Martin Perez only has 1 start. He's been pitching out of the bullpen for some reason. And then they've bullpenned with Josh Taylor and Marcus Walden getting starts.
Yeah.
And like, with what's coming, the bullpenning piece, like they're not going to call up Mata or Houck in the way that they do it here, or start Darwinzon Hernandez. Maybe they will start Darwinzon Hernandez 3 times. Who knows?
They shouldn't.
I mean, part of it depends on how quickly Colin McHugh comes back.
Yep.
Right.
And the longer
and what they use him for too, because he could be in the plans for pitching in relief. He's not necessarily.
Yeah, it could be like a 3-inning reliever.
Yeah.
I think that they have this is why they've been turning over those 40-man roster spots at the bottom.
And if they have a 13-man pitching staff, or not 13, more than that.
More. It'd be at like 15.
If it's like a 15-man pitching staff, they might be okay.
This is the thing. They're good. Like, they have a bunch of guys who are like 13 to 15th men on a pitching staff.
Right.
Except the problem is they're like the 9th, 10th, and 11th, and 12th guy on the Red Sox pitching staff also.
Right. Like they don't have a Price or a Sale is the problem.
Yeah. Or both.
Or both.
But yeah, good question. It's a fun question.
Thank you, Sam. Yeah, it's a fun one. Next question comes from Jamie. Jamie has 2 questions. We'll get to the questions. The recent podcast was an awesome deep dive. Looking forward to the position prospects. His first question: where would Alex Verdugo have ranked in the Red Sox system prior to his first call up with the Dodgers? I think number 1, right?
Yeah, he was like the top 30 prospect in all of baseball, and the Red Sox didn't have any of those guys.
Yeah, definitely number 1, I think. 2, I'd love to hear more about a tools ranking discussion, namely speed/base running, as I haven't seen much commentary on this tool within the system. Not sure how Chaim Bloom values the various tools differently than prior GMs. On the last piece, we don't know how Chaim Bloom values tools because there's just no.
We don't have the.
basis.
We need to see we got to get a couple years in.
Yeah, we need to get further in than that. I mean,
I will say I know that the Rays definitely had way more. Like they valued speed a lot. Guy, I'm thinking like Vidal Brujan. They drafted guys like Taylor Walls who are fast. They went out and traded for Xavier Edwards. Like they seem to have targeted a lot of speed guys. And, you know, you look at the Red Sox, they have Gilberto
Jimenez and Jarren Duran are the two guys that come to mind.
Gilberto's an 80 runner. Jarren Duran's like a 70 runner. Other than that,
Brannon's got speed. Brannon's probably a 60 runner.
Yeah, I'm just going to look at 2019 overall.
Yeah, I'm looking at stolen bases. Brainer Bonacci might have some wheels. We'll have to see.
They have a bunch of plus runners. They just don't. Other than the two we mentioned, I don't think they have anyone above like a 65. Like Angel Maeta's like a 60 runner.
Is it?
Like, it's just like, it's really just.
The other problem is lower in the minors, they don't really let guys go, so you can't just look at steals.
This is the other thing. Like, even if you look at steals, Gilberto only had 14 last year. Part of that's because he's not a very good base runner, but like he just didn't run very much. It was surprising when you watch games like
Jordan Wren stole 31 bases. A, he's not in the system anymore, but B, like 90% of that was probably like what I like to call Garen Cicchini steals.
Yeah, I would say Greenville steals I don't read anything into.
Yeah, because it's older guys or smarter guys stealing on pitchers who don't know what they're doing.
So, yeah, they just don't have a lot of speed guys.
Yeah, they really don't. I mean, like Marcus Wilson's athletic. Jeter Downs stole 20-something bases
24.
last year. 24.
But he's not a burner. He's like a 50 runner.
Yeah, he's like a 50 runner.
I think the interesting thing to me is just going to be like, it's unfortunate we're getting a truncated version of it now. It's just how High and Bloom approached the transaction game. Like, I was fascinated to see what he was going to do with like the cut down period at the end of spring training, like things like that, you know, with opt outs and see who they targeted. Because I was sure they would have turned over 3 or 4 spots on the roster at that point.
Probably.
And then also,
the guys they wound up getting were guys like Yairo Munoz, who's he's a hit tool guy.
Yeah. But like
Lucroy, who's
a
major league retread.
But like that, and then like his first draft, like it'd be interesting to see, like, we're only going to get a 5 to 10 round version of it with -1 pick. So we're not going to have a good feel for how, because like at the end of the day, drafts are mostly scouts, but the GM has say for the first 2 picks or so, 3 picks.
It might be just the top pick some years.
Well, I mean, yeah, but like the GM is involved in some capacity. So I don't know. It just would have been.
Thanks for the email, Jamie.
Yeah.
Next email is from Zeke. And Zeke up the road in Silver Spring. Let's go to Denison someday, Zeke. He says, you probably saw the Red Sox fan survey posted by The Athletic.
I did see it.
Yeah. There was one question I thought you all might especially have a lot of fun discussing for us, and it's a positive one, which we certainly need these days. I had a difficult time trying to choose a top 3, let alone rank all 8. Almost all of them involve the farm system, so please tackle this for us. Rank from 1 to 8, Ian.
Yeah, I got to write this down.
The best Red Sox moves of the past 10 years. Okay?
Yeah.
And here are the moves. Drafting Mookie Betts.
Uh-huh.
Re-signing David Ortiz.
Okay.
Which I don't know which re-signing.
I'll have to
is it in the survey? I'll look in a minute. The salary dump of Josh Beckett and Carl Crawford, so the Nick Punto trade.
Mm-hmm.
The 2013 bridge deals, i.e. Napoli, Gomes, Victorino, Uehara. Signing Rafael Devers as a teenager.
Okay.
Kimbrel trade. Sale trade. Signing J.D. Martinez.
Okay.
And then he requests that we disagree, at least a little bit.
Okay. Do you want me to put it in order and then you can do it and we'll compare?
Yeah.
Which re-signing Ortiz was
I know. I'm trying to look. It's taking a while to load for some reason.
David Ortiz. Would it have been... So which was this from since 2013?
Since 2010. So I don't know which Ortiz re-signing this is.
Yeah.
I think part of the problem is they did this in Google Forms that like aren't accepting responses anymore.
I'm just going to go to his Wikipedia and hopefully it'll have like his contract. Let's see. He signed in...
I mean, they originally signed him in 2003, obviously. 2012, it looks like, because I Googled David Ortiz re-signed.
Yeah, in 2012, he signed a 2-year, $36 million contract. And then in 2014, he signed a 1-year, $16 million. I think it has to be the 2012 one, right?
It's the 2012, yeah, because it's just before 2013.
Yeah, okay.
Because he made $14.5 million the prior season on a 1-year deal. And he basically, he never got paid.
No. I think it's interesting because it's a fun one because they're two different eras, but they all led to World Series, or they were all involved in World Series titles.
For me, there are two that are probably. Here's the problem. When you look at re-signing David Ortiz, versus letting him walk,
he was really good in 2013 and 2014, or 2012 and 2013.
Right. So, what's your number one?
The Mookie draft.
For me, it's either that
or what?
Nick Punto trade.
Really? They didn't get anything back for that.
They basically avoided what happened this year.
Fair, but they avoided
running off the cliff.
But there was no CBT back then.
Sure, there was.
No, there wasn't. In 2012.
Sure, there was.
There was no punishment.
I mean, is there a punishment now? It's a friggin' tax. I mean, there's always there's always a budget. They unloaded $250 million of contract. Yeah,
but then they signed Hanley Ramirez and what's his
Here's
name?
the argument with but the thing is, the only reason that signing Hanley Ramirez and Pablo Sandoval didn't drive the team off the cliff is because they had all that room.
But they wouldn't have signed those guys if they didn't have that room.
And they wouldn't have won the 2013 World Series if they didn't have that room, because they wouldn't have signed any of those guys.
They wouldn't have won the 27th World Series without Mookie Betts.
No, that's not. Betts is the other one. Those are the top two for me.
Oh, I know. Right? That's why I have those 1 and 2 also. But
to me, it's if you put it this way,
because the
trajectory of this franchise was completely changed by the Dodgers trade.
Fair. I think
completely changed. They were about to go off a cliff of bad contracts.
Yeah, I think that can we agree that the Kimball trade is 8?
Yeah.
I don't think it's close.
Well, yeah. Because the other one I'm looking at is 2013 bridge deals.
Those guys were nice.
They worked,
series, but
here's the thing,
guys.
They the 2013 bridge deals also submarine the 2014 team and
Yeah. No, that's why I have that 7.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I had re-signing Ortiz and JD. I had JD at 6 and Ortiz at 5. The Sale trade was the weird one. I didn't know what to do with that one because they won the World Series, but it's also
why isn't David? Well, yeah, David Price is in the top 8 here.
So what is this?
I'd go David Price over Kimbrel trade.
Yeah, I would too. But I think Price's negative reputation is why he's not on this list.
Probably.
Let's be honest. I'm dead serious. That's why he's not on this list.
Probably.
I would say so. I would have 1 Mookie, 2 Punto, but I think you could flip that.
Yeah.
3, I would have Devers because I think that he won a World Series. He was an integral part, and he set them up. He's their key piece for the next 4 years.
I think the problem with that is it's too early to tell.
No, I'm confident.
Okay. I mean, I am too, but it's
and then 4, I think I would have 4, 5, 6. I think is all I have the same. It's Ortiz, Sale, and JD because all of them were shorter term things, but they contributed to a World Series. Do you know what I mean?
Right. I would put Sale definitely above JD. I would put what's the other one in there?
Ortiz? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Ortiz might be 3.
In terms of position importance, I guess Sale's better. Who was Sale's for that year?
I mean, the 2013 World Series doesn't happen without David Ortiz, so maybe
I know that's why he might be 4.
I put him 3. What do you have 3? Oh, Devers. I put Ortiz over Devers.
Okay, we can disagree.
No question.
So in the year they won the World Series,
Devers has one good year.
What?
No question. Devers has had one good year in the majors.
Yeah, but I mean,
versus Ortiz sticking around from 2012 through when did he retire? 17.
He actually hit 240 in the year they won the World Series. That's a good point. Ortiz is 3.
Yeah.
Devers will be 4. I think Devers is ahead of the Sale and the JD thing, though.
Yeah,
because JD is he's a very good player. I think Sale's ahead of JD too, because in the year they won the World Series, Sale was like a 7-WAR player.
If they didn't sign Sale to the extension, would you feel differently about the Sale trade? That's the thing. That's
a good. No, would I feel better about it? I don't know.
I would feel better about the Sale trade if they didn't sign him to the extension.
Oh, I agree. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
But I still think that him over JD is fair.
Yeah, I think JD was important. I think he's top 5 here. But
I think I would have Mookie, Punto.
I go Punto, Mookie, but
Ortiz,
it's close. It's 1-1-A.
Devers, Sale, JD, Bridge, Kimbrel.
Yeah, that sounds right.
All right, cool.
We disagreed to get to that number, but that's a fun question.
That's a fun question. Yeah,
it was very fun. He also put a fun little smiley face in here too.
That was nice of him.
Thank you for that.
We need smiley faces at
smiley
times
faces,
like this.
Yeah. Our next question comes from Tom. Actually, he has 2 questions. I have 2 questions regarding minor leagues and the current coronavirus situation. 1, if there are no games played this year, who would it hurt the most, hitters or pitchers? Pitchers, no question. No question.
Yep. Yeah.
Because you're going to, someone in the forum the other day brought up Jay Groom.
You can't recover these innings.
You can't recover these innings. I mean, he's going to pitch. He would probably have been on like a 100-inning limit anyway. But so he can still get those, but like...
You still can't simulate like real game innings unless they're at the complex. So even if they don't start till July, you're still missing out on 4 months of like real game innings.
Like the pitchers are going to be... Pitching in baseball, in professional baseball, is going to be impacted for years by this.
Yes.
Yeah. 2, I have heard that part of MLB's plan in Arizona, which, by the way, everybody, this is just me inserting this. Who knows? That's the new thing today. Was they're apparently going to go straight to home parks. They're not even going to go to Arizona and Florida.
Yeah, wasn't it like new divisions, like Northeast?
No. Oh, yeah. But they wouldn't even go to Florida.
It's like 10 divisions of or 3 divisions of 10, and like 10.
Yeah. Anyway, I've heard that part of MLB's plan in Arizona is having a group of players that are off of the everyday roster who can be inserted because of injury. So like the taxi squad we were talking about. So for example, an MLB team would send 40 players to Arizona and only 26 would be part of the roster and 14 would be available if someone went on the IL. I have not heard anything about how these 14 players would be able to play and stay, quote, fine-tuned. In your opinion, how would that affect a player's development? And would that affect who you would put on that roster? I mean, I think that's exactly it. Like, that's what we were talking about with Dahlbeck. Like, is he better off? Is he better off on the taxi squad than sitting at home? Yes. Is he better off on the taxi squad than in Fort Myers? I don't think.
See, the thing is, though, like I feel like if they did something like that Arizona plan, what they would do is they would have like a modified Arizona Fall League going on.
That's
where
true.
Like
they'd have like a shadow league.
They combine 2 teams probably.
Yeah, Arizona Fall League is a good way to put it. That's true.
And they basically have like 2, especially if it's like 14 guys off each team. You basically combine 2 or 3 teams, create like these, and have them play on the backfield. Yep. That's what I guarantee. That's what they do.
Yeah, that sounds right. Thanks for the questions, Tom. And then our final questions come from Jason. Or Jay. He goes by Jay. I'm sorry, Jay. He says, hello. I mean, this is a fair question. Do you have a relationship with the Red Sox that provides any extra or special access to games or players when you attend camp, instructs, or even regular minor league games, or do you always attend as a general member of the public? And he has a follow-up question, but let's get to that. The answer to the question in full is no, right? We don't get special access to games and things because of a special relationship with the Red Sox. Going to games, we get media passes.
We're members of the media because
we are members of the media. Media members get press passes.
Yeah.
So that's how we attend games.
And that's how you can get player access if you choose. We don't choose to do that, but
I mean, you can go in the locker room after the game, interview guys. I've done that in the past. I don't really do it anymore.
I have never done it, and I do not do it.
I do it. I've done it before. I've been thinking about whether I should go in and talk to coaches and stuff more often. Instructs, it's open to the public.
Spring training is open to the public.
Spring training is open to the public. You can go. So no special access there. We do talk to the team. We do talk to the front office. We ask them questions.
But that's like every media person would do that.
But that's media access. That's not we have media access just like any other media people, which we've worked on over time. I mean, when I started writing for the website, we did not get press passes. We had to earn respect. Have I mentioned on here about how one affiliate gave me, not a Red Sox affiliate, but I had a hard time getting a press pass last year.
Yeah, you told me this. I've heard about it.
I'm still fired up about that.
I know you were very mad.
We don't give press passes to personal blogs. I was just like, yeah, let me give you my resume. Follow-up question. If the minor league season is canceled and reserved to an instructional type league in like Florida, do you anticipate trying to attend it with in-person scouting, assuming a reasonable lifting of quarantine and reduced travel risks? Thanks, Jay in Colorado. Answer that one. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, no question.
We would like to go, yes.
No question. And I mean, we've got the money in the budget already because we thought we were going to spring training and didn't. So
yep.
We were just talking today about credits that we may or may not have with airlines. So, yeah, I mean, we definitely want to try and do it. It depends on when.
I said if it's safe to do that, but I'm not comfortable flying, I would drive down there, and I stand by that.
I would, dude, road trip. Come pick me up and we
absolutely. Go. Yeah, pick you up on the way.
Would we make it to Fort Myers before we strangle each other, you and me?
Yeah, I mean, I'm an easy. I do long car rides. In college, I used to do like Boston to Michigan in one day. Like
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you and I fighting.
No, we'd be fine.
Who would control the radio? Me, right?
I don't listen to music when I drive, so.
Oh, that would change. We could listen to the Red Sox. We could listen to the Sox Prospects podcast.
Yeah, that's the only thing I listen to when I'm driving. That's all I listen to. I love hearing the sound of my voice.
It's so awkward.
I don't actually. No, I just listen to podcasts. I don't really listen to music when I drive. So
I do both. It depends.
Yeah, it varies.
I would control it mostly. I've seen you already. I pull rank.
Yeah, actually, you know what? If it was my car, you would not control it.
Fair.
So yeah. All right. I think we should stop.
Yeah, we're getting punchy. Thank you for the questions, everybody. Again, it's podcast@soxprospects.com. We want to talk about what you all want to hear about, especially in times like these, folks. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for giving us an outlet to do something other than just worry. Hopefully we bring you guys a little bit of an escape, a little bit of an outlet. So that's what I'm saying. Stay with us. Let's talk some baseball, people. Stay with us on the website too. Plenty of stuff up at news.soxprospects.com. Plenty going on the news page. We're updating scouting reports still. We're putting content on the news page. Join the forum and talk. It's gotten a little slowly. We need people to go in and spice that back up. Let's talk, man. Let's talk some baseball. Hopefully we'll get some news soon about what the season looks like. Hopefully there is a season. We're just crossing our fingers and hoping, just like all of you. We hope you're all staying safe. We hope you're all making smart decisions. Wipe everything down before it comes in the house. I mean, I don't know about you, Ian. Getting groceries in from our grocery delivery has become a 45-minute process.
I mean, I would just be thankful you can get grocery delivery.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't offer it where I am, and really? I have been on the waiting list to get Whole Foods delivery, like groceries to go.
Because you hadn't signed up yet?
No, I signed up, or I hadn't signed up before this started.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, if you hadn't already gotten it.
I'm still waiting for that email with an open slot, and I signed up about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's rough. So, we were lucky we did it once before this started, so we didn't have to wait. I hope you're all being safe out there. Be good. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. If you want to support us, great. There's a lot of causes out there that could use your support too. I mentioned this on Twitter. I should mention this. I started a thing today. Minor league organizations could use your support. If you've been thinking of getting merch, it's a great time to get some minor league merch.
Or tickets for the future, or just anything.
Yeah, tickets for the future. Like, I mean, I'm going to start highlighting a really cool piece of minor league merch every day. Like today, to lead off the series, I did the Salem Red Sox. Did you see this, Ian? The Salem Red Sox sell a Tim Wakefield Salem Buccaneers jersey.
It's kind of sick.
It's mustard yellow.
Oh, what a great color.
It's got this great, like, their logo was so bad, it's good. Mm-hmm. Back when Salem, I guess, was a Pirates affiliate back in the day. I didn't even realize this.
Because people forget that Tim Wakefield was on the Pirates.
Yeah, that's true, too. But, yeah, I mean, there's some great stuff. It's a good time to support minor league teams. I'm going to talk to the missus, and I think I might be grabbing some shirts. The Copa de la Diversión, those I like those logos. Those are all pretty sweet. I think everybody in the system's got one now. Mm-hmm. Everybody's got a food one. Get a Salem Beer Mongers shirt. I almost bought a Pawtucket Fighting K-Hogs
I thought you were going to get the Wiener Dog shirt.
No, I don't like the Wiener Dogs one, although I was a big fan of the Coney System wieners when I was in Providence. If you're outside of Rhode Island, you don't know what that is, and I see a little smirk on your face, Ian. But if you know, you know. Get that loaded up with some onions and some salt and pepper. It's good stuff. But yeah, I mean, support, you know, if you are able, it's a good time to show your support. You know, get a gift card to that restaurant up the road, do something to help someone. It'll make you feel better. It's better than just doom scrolling on your phone. That's like,
yeah. I've stopped doing that. I had to delete some things.
Yeah.
Some news applications for that reason.
I'm unfollowing people on Twitter who I added because of baseball who just can't stay on topic right now.
I think the other thing is just like, I understand it can be frustrating, you know, thinking you're safe or, you know, you're not at high risk, but you know, it's not about
It's also not about you. Yeah,
it's about
everyone
the
else.
risk you're putting everyone else in. So just think about that before, you know, I understand the temptation. I mean, we've all felt it to want to, you know, go to the beach or, you know, go outside and, you know, do something that feels normal, but, you know, stay safe when you're doing that. And just remember, you know, it's not, well, you might not be a high risk. That doesn't mean someone you might bump into at the grocery store a week later isn't. So,
yeah. And I mean, look, I'm not going to tell, you know, I don't think we're telling folks how to live their lives or anything like that.
No, absolutely not.
Just be smart.
Not.
Just think.
Smart. Yeah.
Just think. That's all.
Yep.
Be safe out there. We don't want to lose listeners. It's purely self-interest.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
No.
All right. Be good, everybody. We want to give a thank you shout out to Podcast Joe, who edits and produces the show, and he's going to have a doozy with this one that's now in 4 parts. We want to give a thanks to all of you for listening. Follow us on Twitter. Follow the site at Sox Prospects. Follow Ian at Ian Cundall. That's IANCUNDALL. Blah. Follow me at SP Chris Hatfield. Again, keep it on the news page. We're putting stuff up every day.
And keep an eye out for us participating in the prospect draft.
Follow us tomorrow night if you're able. Prospects Live is doing its mock draft, and we'll have a debrief on that on here at least, if not on the news page.
Yeah, probably, definitely on here at least.
All right. Thank you for listening, everybody. We'll be back in your eardrums soon. Take care.
Song just like snow.